welcome to Sri Lanka Morning Show. Aiboan.
සල්සාගරේ වගේ නිකලල් ආදරේ නොයිදුල් ඒ ඔබේ සෙනේ නොයිදුල් සේගේ මට මුළු ජීවිතේ පුරා සුවඳදී මට මුළු ජීවිතේ පුරා සුවඳදී පුල්නේ මගේ ලොවේ හසරල් යාුනේ සිහිනල් උසුවේ කෙනේ මනලොල් ආදරේ මට මුළු ජීවිතේ පුරා සතුටරදී මට මුළු ජීවිතේ පුරා සතුටරදී
Get ready for a spectacular night of Hollywood glamour. Jet Travel and Cruise proudly presents the Hollywood Glamour Annual Gala Ball, featuring the sensational Next Gen Band. Join us on Saturday, the 15th of August 2026, from 6:30 p.m. at Springvale City Hall, Springvale. Dress to impress in black tie and Hollywood glamour. For bookings and inquiries, contact Romain Ferdinands on 0395 853 800 or 0423 737 074. Don't miss this spectacular evening of music, elegance, and celebration, and experience the magic of Hollywood glamour.
If you're looking for an evening that's fun, but with a purpose and creates opportunities, Australia Sri Lanka Business Forum presents Sri Lanka Entrepreneurs Night on the 15th of August at Grandio in Clyde from 6:30 p.m. onwards with live entertainment, three-course dinner and many more. This will be one of the most important Sri Lanka business networking events of the year. Book early to avoid disappointment. Tickets available via Try Bookings or Charmini on 0451 664 767 or Priyanka on 0402 857 574.
Iboan. My name is Dr. Sam Dasanaka. I'm an Ayurvedic doctor practicing in Melbourne. In this Ayurvedic segment, we will bring very useful information with regards to your posture, especially in the cervical area. Now, cervical area is comprised of your neck, which is comprised of the cervical spine. So, most often than not, most people go through with cervical tension. Now, that means you will have a stiff neck, you will have frozen shoulder, and if you neglect that, you will have shoulder bursitis. Also, if you are involved in a profession that you require repetitive movements like child care, aged care, and if you are a driver operating a tram or a train or a bus, you require a lot of repetitive movements in terms of steering the vehicle, in terms of looking back and forth at side mirrors, back mirrors. If the tension persists and if you put strain, it's more likely you will end up in a tear. It can be a partial or full thickness tear, which is very painful. You will be out of operation and will be requested to rest by your GP or the surgeon. So it is utmost important. And also, most of us look at our mobile devices bending our neck. This is not good. So this one, for every degree that you turn your head down, there's 10 kilos of pressure on your cervical spine. So it is a tremendous amount of spine, and the spine is not designed for you to hold your neck like this. So you need to lift your neck, and also make sure when you're working in your office, in your home workspace, that you follow the office ergonomics and make sure you put your head straight and look straight, not tilting your head like this way or downwards. Now, neck pain also can emanate in giving you the anterior or the posterior side of the skull will give you a headache. So you will not know, you will try to take some Panadol, as a temporary resolution, but this will continue to hurt you. You will wake up with a headache and you will have a headache midday. So for most of these symptoms, it is the cervical spine. And also, if the cervical area is weak, if your C4, C5, C6 is weak and a herniated disc, you will also have numbingness in your fingers, painful fingers, and find it difficult to hold things. So these are all due to cervical issues. So my advice to you is that if you're doing repetitive movements, if you're exerting pressure on your cervical spine, please make sure after every half an hour, every 1.5 hours, you will stretch your neck in this way to give it some relief and to come back into your normal posture. stretching is very important. And also, if you find the stretching is not going to help you, take some sesame oil, apply it here and put a heat pack. So the heat will expand your disc and make some space in between the vertebrae. So that will give a lot of relief. Apply. Now, sesame oil is a base oil, important to reduce swelling and inflammation. But if you have any medicated oil, Ayurvedic oil, behet tel, then that is very good. So apply them, use some pottani and do a little bit of thavali. This is a fermentation. But if you don't have any of that, just some hot water bag will do the trick. But when you are feeling, of course, for the pain, on a ad hoc basis, occasionally you can take a Panadol or to subside the pain, but don't continuously take Panadol because you have neck pain or shoulder pain. That is not good. That will hurt your body. So use the fermentation, put some oil, give some pressure, stretch, and make sure this is now resolved. If it is not resolved, if you think it's a bit of an issue, then you can take an X-ray or a scan and see for yourself, discuss with your doctor what is the issue. If you have a herniated disc, we can fix it. We can bring it up to like there was no issue because we built the cartilage. Ayurveda built the cartilage. If you have a tear, whether it's a partial tear or full thickness tear, Ayurveda can mend the tear and give a complete recovery as if nothing happened. If you have shoulder bursitis, if you are above the age of 70, it will take a little bit of time, but we can completely cure. We can rebuild and remake the synovial fluid so that your movement can be restored without any pain. Now, if you have tennis elbow emanating here, so that means it's a bit deep rooted, it will take a little bit of time. But the remedy is we need to apply the oil and do the fermentation at home while you take some Ayurvedic medicine. Now, in any event, this is an important thing that if you are aware that this is coming, as I said, do some stretches, apply some talatel, sesame oil, or if you have any Mahanarayana, Shulahara, Sarshapadi, these are all good. Drink plenty of water, give some heat, it will get resolved. If it doesn't, I hope you will follow the advice of an Ayurvedic doctor. And until we meet again, Ayubowan.
Invite the beauty of the endless ocean into your life. Situated fronting the beach of Wadhwa, Oceana Integrated Beachfront Resort Apartments bring you 50+ resort activities, a star-class hotel and luxury apartments with world-class amenities. Oceana Beach Resort Apartments, Wadhwa.
Sanji Caldera Associates. With our headquarters based in Melbourne, Australia, you can locate our branch offices in Sri Lanka, Dubai, Canada and London, UK. Some of our services include skilled migration visa, family migration visa, employer sponsorship visa, temporary resident visa, business visa, tourist visa, student visa, administrative appeals tribunal review. Pursuit of excellence through tailored solutions.
The science of life, traditionally known as the Ayurveda. Consultations, diagnosis and treatments are done by fully qualified Ayurvedic practitioner Dr. Sam Dasanai. Sahandro Ayurvedic Center, best wellness experience.
News Weekly is brought to you by Elsdan, a Tremor company, the hose specialist. Evzan Plastics Proprietary Limited, 525 to 527 Hammond Road, Dandenong South.
අයිබෝවන් සතිය ප්‍රවෘත්ති ප්‍රකාශය සමගින් මම සුගිතා අල්විස්. මුලින්ම අවධානය ප්‍රවෘත්ති සිරස්තල වෙතට. අධිකරණ විනිසුරු විශ්‍රාම වයස දීර්ඝ කිරීමේ යෝජනාවට කැබිනට් අනුමැතිය හිමි වූ බව අධිකරණ ඇමති හර්ෂණ නානායක්කාර කියයි. දෙවිනුවර පෙරහැරේ ගිය වසරේ කාවඩි නැටු සියලුම කණ්ඩායම්වලට මේ වසරෙත් නටන්න අවසර. ශාසනාරක්ෂක සංඝ සභාව කොළඹදී මහා සංඝ සමුළුව පවත්වයි. මීගමුව බන්ධනාගාර ගැටුමට හීනටියන සුපුන් ඇතුළු රැඳවියන් සිව් දෙනෙක් සැකකරුවන් ලෙස නම් කළ බව CID අධිකරණයට දැනුම් දෙයි. මැලේසියා අන්තර්ජාතික සිනමා උළෙලේදී හොඳම නළුවා සහ හොඳම සහාය නළුවා සම්මානය දුණු මහේන්ද්‍ර සහ ප්‍රියන්ත ඇතුළු පිරිස දිවයිනට. අධිකරණ විනිසුරුවන්ගේ විශ්‍රාම යාමේ වයස දීර්ඝ කිරීමේ යෝජනාවට කැබිනට් අනුමැතිය හිමි වූ බව අධිකරණ අමාත්‍ය නීතිඥ හර්ෂණ නානායක්කාර මහතා පවසනවා. පැවති කැබිනට් මණ්ඩල රැස්වීමට අධිකරණ අමාත්‍යවරයා ලෙස ඔහු ඉදිරිපත් කළ යෝජනාවට අනුමැතිය හිමි වූ බවයි හර්ෂණ නානායක්කාර මහතා පැවසුවේ.
මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් සාකච්ඡා කිරීමට අධිකරණ සේවා සංගමයේද පසුගියදා රැස්ව තිබූ අතර විනිසුරුවරුන්ගේ ව්‍යවස්ථාපිත විශ්‍රාම වයස දීර්ඝ කිරීමේ යෝජනාවට ඔවුන් එකඟ නොවන බව දන්වා එම සංගමය අධිකරණ අමාත්‍ය නීතිඥ හර්ෂණ නානායක්කාර මහතාට ලිපියක්ද යොමු කර තිබුණා. එවැනි සංශෝධනයක් සිදු නොකළ යුත්තේ මන්ද යන්න කරුණු කිහිපයකින් පැහැදිලි කරමින් මෙවන් පසුබිමක ජනාධිපතිවරයාගේ ප්‍රධානත්වයෙන් අද පස්වරුවේ කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය රැස් වුණා. එහිදී අධිකරණ සහ ජාතික ඒකාබද්ධතා අමාත්‍ය නීතිඥ හර්ෂණ නානායක්කාර මහතා විසින් අධිකරණ විනිසුරුවරුන්ගේ විශ්‍රාම යාමේ වයස දීර්ඝ කිරීමේ යෝජනාව අමාත්‍ය මණ්ඩලය වෙත ඉදිරිපත් කරනු ලැබූ බව අමාත්‍යවරයා පැවසුවා. එහිදී කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය එම යෝජනාවට අනුමැතිය ලබා දී තිබෙනවා.
විනිසුරු විශ්‍රාම වයස දිගු කිරීමේ යෝජනාව පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ගෙන ඇවහොත් එය ජනාධිපතිවරයාගේ උරුමය පිළිබඳ කළු පැල්ලමක් බව ජනාධිපති නීතිඥ සාලිය පීරිස් මහතා පවසනවා. ඔහු ඇතුළු ජනාධිපති නීතිඥවරුන් පිරිසකගේ සහභාගීත්වයෙන් පැවති ප්‍රවෘත්ති සාකච්ඡාවකදී රජයේ මෙම යෝජනාව දැඩිව විවේචනයට ලක් කෙරුණා.
මේ රජය මේක කරොත් මේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා ඒ ඔහුගේ උරුමයට කරන කැලලක් හැටියට කළු පැල්ලමක් හැටියට මම දකිනවා.
ජාතික ජනබලවේගේ විධායක සභිකයෙකු වන නීතිඥ ලාල් විජේනායක මහතාද මීට එක්වමින් අනාවරණයක් කළා.
මම NPP එකේ ජාතික බලවේගයේ නායකත්ව මණ්ඩලයේ ඉන්නවා. මෙහෙම කාර්යක සභාවෙත් ඉන්නවා. විධායක සභාවෙත් ඉන්න කෙනෙක්. මට කිව්වා නිශ්ශබ්දව ඉන්න කියලා. මම අහුවා මොකක් පිළිබඳව නිශ්ශබ්දව ඉන්න කියන්නේ කියලා. පස්සේ කිව්වා මේ ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයේ හා අභියාචනාධිකරණයේ විනිසුරුවන්ගේ සේවා කාලයේ විශ්‍රාම යන වයස වැඩි කිරීම ගැන කියලා. මම කිව්වා මම ඒකට එකඟ නැහැ කියලා.
අධිකරණ සහ ජාතික ඒකාබද්ධතා අමාත්‍ය නීතිඥ හර්ෂණ නානායක්කාර මහතා ඉදිරිපත් කළ එම යෝජනාවට එහිදී අමාත්‍ය මණ්ඩලයේ අනුමැතිය හිමිව තිබුණා. ඊයේ රාත්‍රියේ පැවති දෙරණ 360 වැඩසටහනට එක් වූ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නීතිඥ සංගමේ සභාපති නීතිඥ රජීව් අමරසූරිය මහතා ප්‍රකාශ කළේ මෙම යෝජනාව ජනමත විචාරණයකින් සම්මත විය යුතු බවයි.
මේ වෙනස කරනවා නම් ජනමත විචාරණයකට යන්න වෙනවා. අධිකරණ බලය තියෙන්නේ අපේ ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ 3-4 වෙන වගන්තිවල. මේ වගන්ති හරිනම් ජනමත විචාරණයකින් නැතුව මාරු කරන්න බෑ.
ජනමත විචාරණයකට යා යුතු වගන්ති ප්‍රමාණයක් ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ නිශ්චිතව සඳහන් කරලා තිබෙනවා. එතකොට මේ උපරිමාධිකරණවල විනිශ්චයකාරුන් සංඛ්‍යාව වැඩි කිරීමට හෝ ඒ විනිශ්චයකාරුන්ගේ විශ්‍රාම වයස වැඩි කිරීම සඳහා ජනමත විචාරණයක් අවශ්‍යයි කියලා මේ වගන්තිවල කොහෙවත් සඳහන් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා මම හිතන්නේ මේ පවතින ව්‍යවස්ථාව පිළිබඳව අවබෝධයක් තියෙන ඕනම කෙනෙකුට මේකට ජනමච්චාරණයක් ඉල්ලන්න බෑ.
දෙවිනුවර උත්පලවන්න ශ්‍රී විෂ්ණු මහා දේවාලයේ වාර්ෂික පෙරහැරේ පසුගිය වසරවල කාවඩි නැටු සියලු කණ්ඩායම් වලට මේ වසරේත් කාවඩි නැටීම සඳහා අවසර ලබා දීමට තීරණය කළ බව මහජන ආරක්ෂක අමාත්‍ය ආනන්ද විජේපාල මහතා පවසනවා. මෙම තීරණය ගෙන ඇත්තේ මහජන ආරක්ෂක අමාත්‍ය ආනන්ද විජේපාල මහතාගේ ප්‍රධානත්වයෙන් සහ පොලිස්පතිවරයාගේද සහභාගීත්වයෙන් මාතර දිසාපති කාර්යාලයේදී පැවති විශේෂ සාකච්ඡාවකදී.
සියලුම කාවඩි කණ්ඩායම් වලට මේ නර්තනයට සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න ඉඩ දෙන්නත් ඒ සඳහා එහි නර්තන කණ්ඩායම් සම්බන්ධ සංවිධාන කටයුතු පොලිසිය හරහා සිද්ධ කරන්නත් යම් අශෝභන ලෙස හැසිරීම් තියෙනවා නම් එවැනි කණ්ඩායම් ඒ අවස්ථාවෙම ඉවත් කරන්නත් ඒ අනුව අපි මේ ස්ථානයේ තීන්දුවක් ගත්තා.
ඒ අනුව දෙවිනුවර උත්පලවන්න ශ්‍රී විෂ්ණු මහදේවාලයේ වාර්ෂික ඇසළ පෙරහර මංගල්‍යයට විශේෂ ආරක්ෂාවක් යෙදවීමට පොලිසියාද පියවර ගත්තා.
වත්මන් පාලකයන්ට කසාවත පෙන්වන්න බැරි තත්ත්වයක් පවතින අතර භික්ෂූන් වහන්සේට පාරට බැසීමට නොහැකි පරිසරයක් නිර්මාණය කිරීමේ කුමන්ත්‍රණයක් ඉදිරියේදී ක්‍රියාත්මක විය හැකි බව ශාසනාරක්ෂක සංඝ සභාවේ සභාපති මණ්ඩල සමාජික ජ්‍යෙෂ්ඨ මහාචාර්ය පූජ්‍ය අගලකඩ සිරි සුමන හිමියන් පවසනවා. උන්වහන්සේ මේ බව ප්‍රකාශ කළේ කොළඹදී පැවති සංඝ සමුළුවකට එක්වෙමින්.
අපි මේ ඓතිහාසික සංඝ සමුළුව අද පවත්වලා කියන්නේ මේ මහා සංඝ රත්නය එක මිටකට සම්බුද්ධ ශාසනය වෙනුවෙන් අපි ඕනෑම අවස්ථාවක කොන්දේසි විරහිතව අපි එකතු වෙනවා.
කහකඩ පාතාලය අද කොළඹට. එහෙම තමයි Facebook වල මේ සංඝ සමුළුවට අර්ථකථන දීලා තියෙන්නේ. පීචන් භික්ෂූන්, දේශපාලන භික්ෂූන්, ව්‍යාපාරික භික්ෂූන්, නන්නත්තර භික්ෂූන්, පරාජිකා භික්ෂූන් මේ සංඝ සමුළුවට වඩින්නේ කියලා අර මඩ බලකායෙන් අපට චෝදනා කරනවා. නූතන පාලකයන් ඔවුන්ට මේ කසාවත පෙන්වන්න බෑ. හාමුදුරුවන්ට තවම දැනුනේ නෑ. තව අවුරුදු 3-4ක් යනකොට පාරට බහින්න බැරි තත්වයක් උද්ගත කරන්න පවා යටි කූට්ටි මගඩි වැඩ ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන හැටි ඔබ වහන්සේලාට දකින්න පුළුවන් වෙයි.
සම්බුද්ධ ශාසනය ආරක්ෂා කිරීමට ලෝකයේ ප්‍රතිඥා දීලා තියෙන ආණ්ඩු ක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒ තියෙන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ආණ්ඩු ක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ විතරයි.
තමන් සමග පැවති සාකච්ඡාවේදී දුන් පොරොන්දු ආණ්ඩුව ඉටු නොකර තමන්ව රැවටීම හේතුවෙන් රුපියල් 120ක සහතික මිලට ගොවීන්ගෙන් වී මිලට නොගන්නා බව සුළු සහ මධ්‍ය පරිමාණ වී මෝල් හිමියන් පවසනවා.
රජරට ප්‍රදේශවල තවදුරටත් යලකන්නේ වී අස්වනු නෙලීම සිදුවෙමින් පවතිනවා. ඒ අනුව ඇලහැර පේක්කුලම සහ මැදිරිගිරිය මීගස්වව ගොවීන් දිගින් දිගටම මැසිවිලි නගන්නේ ප්‍රදේශවල වී ගබඩා මෙතෙක් විවෘත කිරීමේ සූදානමක් නොමැති බවටයි.
ඔයාලා වී ගන්නවකෝ 120ට අරයාලට පේන්නේ නැද්ද ගබඩා අරින්නේ එව්වා කැලේට ගිහිල්ලා නින්ද ගිහිල්ලා නිලධාරින්ද බයි නම් අයින් වෙන්න අයින් වෙලා ආණ්ඩුව වෙනස් කරන්න
මේ අපි තුන්වෙනි පරම්පරාවේ ගොයියෝ අපිට ගොවිතැන එපා වෙන විදිහට කරන්න එපා කියලා කියන්නේ ආණ්ඩුවට
මඩේ බහැලා වී කිලෝ 150ට ගන්න ඕනේ කියලා. ඒවා දැන් ගන්න නැහැ දැන් කියන්නේ 120 වැඩි කියලා කියන්නේ.
සමස්ත ලංකාවම ගොවියන්ට අපි 120 ගන්න වී ගන්න මොකද අපේ පොරොන්දු ඉෂ්ට කරලා නැහැ. මේ තත්ත්වය මත අපිට ගොවිතැන කරගන්නත් බෑ සහල් කර්මාන්තය කරගන්නත් බෑ. මේක විදේශීය සහල් ගෙනාපු නිසා තමයි මේ තත්ත්වය උදා වුනේ. පැහැදිලිව ආණ්ඩුව ෆේල්.
වතු කම්කරුවන් තේ ව්‍යවසායකු බවට පත්කිරීමේ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය සමගි ජන බලවේගය සතු බව විපක්ෂ නායක සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහතා පවසනවා. බලංගොඩ පැවති සමගි වතු සේවක සංගමයේ වාර්ෂික සම්මේලනය අමතමින් ඔහු මෙම අදහස් පළ කළා.
සමගී වතු සේවක සංගමයේ වාර්ෂික සම්මේලනය බලංගොඩ නගරයේදී පැවැත්වුණේ විපක්ෂ නායක සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහතාගේ ප්‍රධානත්වයෙන්.
ඔබ දැනගත යුතු කාරණාවක් තිබෙනවා. අපේ රටේ තේ වගා කරන ඉඩම් වලින් 160ක් අයිති ලොකු කොම්පැනි වල. ජාතික තේ නිෂ්පාදනයට දායකත්වය දෙන්නේ 30%යි. හැබැයි 140ක ඉඩම් අයිතිය තියෙන කුඩා තේවතු හිමියන් රටේ ජාතික තේ නිෂ්පාදනයට දෙනවා 70%ක දායකත්වය. කුඩා තේවතු හිමියෙක් හැටියට ඔබගේම ශක්තිය තුලින් වගා කටයුතු කරලා ඒ වගා භූමිය තුල නිවසකුත් හදාගෙන තේ ව්‍යවසායකෙක් ඔන්ටර්ප්‍රනර් කෙනෙක් බවට ඔබව පත් කරන නව ප්‍රතිපත්තිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නට සමගි ජන බලවේගී අපි අප කැප වෙනවයි කියන එක මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ කියන්න කැමතියි.
ඉහළ ගුණාත්මක භාවයකින් සහ කාර්යක්ෂමතාවයකින් යුතු සදාචාරාත්මක රාජ්‍ය සේවයක් ගොඩනැංවීමේ අරමුණෙන් ක්‍රියාත්මක ජාතික සුපිලිපන් සතිය ජනාධිපති කාර්යාලයේදී ඇරඹුණා. එය ආරම්භ කෙරුණේ ජනාධිපති ලේකම් කාර්යාලයේ ප්‍රමුඛ සියලුම රාජ්‍ය ආයතනවල නිලධාරීන් ජාතික සුපිලිපන් දිවුරුම ලබා දීමෙන්.
පිලිපන් සංස්කෘතියක් ක්ලීන් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවක් යන තේමාව යටතේ ක්‍රියාත්මක ජාතික සුපිලිපන් සතිය ජනාධිපති කාර්යාලයේදී අද ඇරඹුණා. ඒ ජනාධිපති ලේකම් ආචාර්ය නන්දික සනත් කුමාරනායක මහතාගේ ප්‍රධානත්වයෙන්. අදින් ඇරඹි ජාතික සුපිලිපන් සතිය එළඹෙන 31 වෙනිදා දක්වා සතියේ දින තුල ක්‍රියාත්මක අතර සුපිලිපන් භාවය යනු කිසිවෙකු ඔබ දෙස බලා නොසිටින විට පවා හෘද සාක්ෂියට අනුකූලව නිවැරදි දේ කිරීම යන්නයි. ඊට සමගාමීව ජාතික සුපිලිපන් දිවුරුම ලබා දීම සිදු වූ අතර ජනාධිපති ලේකම් කාර්යාලයේ නිලධාරීන් සඳහා වන ආචාර ධර්ම සංග්‍රහයද එළිදැක්වුණා.
ජනතාවට අපි ගාවට එන ඒ ජනතාවට ඒ සේවාදායකයට අපි කතා කරන විදිහේ ඉඳන් මෙතන ගේට්ටුවෙන් ඇතුල් වෙන තැන ඉඳන් කියලා තියෙනවා අපි සිකියුරිටි එකට උනත් ඒක කියලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. පිළිගන්න විදිහේ ඉඳන්ම ඒ වෙනස දැනෙන්න ඕනේ.
එල්නීනෝ තත්ත්වය සමග මතුව ඇති උණුසුම් කාලගුණය හේතුවෙන් ප්‍රදේශ රැසක ජල මූලාශ්‍රවලට මෙන්ම ගොවිබිම්වලටද අහිතකර බලපෑම් එල්ලවීමට පටන්ගෙන තිබෙනවා. ඇතැම් ප්‍රදේශවල වැව් පවා සිඳී යන අයුරු අද වන විට දැකගත හැකි.
ශ්‍රී ලංකාව මේ වන විට එල්නිනෝ තත්ත්වයකට මුහුණ දෙමින් සිටින අතර එය වසරක පමණ කාලයක් බලපැවැත්වනු ඇති බවට කාලගුණ විද්‍යා දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව පුරෝකථනය කරනවා. මේ තත්ත්වය හමුවේ දිවයිනේ ප්‍රදේශ රැසකම වැසි අවම උණුසුම් කාලගුණ තත්ත්වයක් බලපැවැත්වෙනවා. කාලගුණ විද්‍යා දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ දත්ත අනුව අද දහවල් උෂ්ණත්වය සැලකීමේදී ප්‍රදේශ රැසකම උෂ්ණත්වය සටහන්ව තිබුණේ සෙල්සියස් අංශක 30 ඉක්ම වූ අගයන් වලයි.
9 වෙනි වරටත් පැවැත් වූ මැලේසියා අන්තර්ජාතික සිනමා උළෙලේදී හොඳම නළුවාට හිමි සම්මානයෙන් පිදුම් ලැබීමට ප්‍රවීණ රංගන ශිල්පී මහේන්ද්‍ර පෙරේරා සමත් වුණා. ඒ විවෙස්ටන් චිත්‍රපටයේ සිදු කළ විශිෂ්ට රංගනය හේතුවෙන්. එහිදී රංගන ශිල්පී ප්‍රියන්ත සිරිකුමාර හොඳම සහාය නළුවා ලෙස සම්මානය දිනාගත්තා.
2026 මැලේසියානු අන්තර්ජාතික සිනමා උළෙල එරටදී පැවැත්වුණා. එහිදී ලලිත් රත්නායක මහතා අධ්‍යක්ෂණය කළ රිවස්ටන් චිත්‍රපටයේ සිදු කළ විශිෂ්ට රංගනය වෙනුවෙන් හොඳම නළුවා හා හොඳම සහාය නළුවා සම්මාන දිනු මහේන්ද්‍ර සහ ප්‍රියන්ත ඇතුළු පිරිස දිවයිනට.
මේ හොඳම නළුවා සම්මානය ගත්ත එක ගැන හිතේ ලොකු සන්තෝෂයක් තියෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම මතක් කරනවා ලලිත් රත්නායක, ප්‍රභාත් රෝෂන්. මොකද ඒ දෙපළ නොහිටින්න රිවස්ටන් මේ චිත්‍රපටය හැදෙන්නේ නැහැ. මට ඊළඟ පරම්පරාවත් එක්ක කරගන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් තියෙනවා. ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම
ඒ සමගින් සතියේ ප්‍රවෘත්ති ප්‍රකාශය මෙසේ නිමාව දකි. මෙම ප්‍රවෘත්ති ප්‍රකාශය නැවත නැරඹීමට යොමු වන්න ශ්‍රී ලංකා මෝර්නිං ෂෝ YouTube චැනලය වෙතට. නැවතත් ලබන සතියේ හමු වෙනතුරු ඔබ සැමට සුවදායක සතියක්. ආයුබෝවන්.
Sanji Caldera Associates. With our headquarters based in Melbourne, Australia, you can locate our branch offices in Sri Lanka, Dubai, Canada and London, UK. Some of our services include skilled migration visa, family migration visa, employer sponsorship visa, temporary resident visa, business visa, tourist visa, student visa, administrative appeals tribunal review. Pursuit of excellence through tailored solutions.
The science of life, traditionally known as the Ayurveda, Consultations, diagnosis, and treatments are done by fully qualified Ayurvedic practitioner Dr. Sam Dasanai. Sahandro Ayurvedic Center. Best wellness experience.
Invite the beauty of the endless ocean into your life. Situated fronting the beach of Wadhwa, Oceana Integrated Beachfront Resort Apartments bring you 50+ resort activities, a star-class hotel, and luxury apartments with world-class amenities. Oceana Beach Resort Apartments, Wadhwa.
Good morning, everyone. As you can see, I'm coming to you here from a different location today. That's right, we're here at Glen Smiles Dental Clinic in Glen Waverley, and I'm joined with a very familiar face, Dr. Sachin Gamage. Good morning, Dr. Gamage. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, hi, nice to be here again.
So, what are we going to be talking about today?
I thought we'd talk about some specific cases. We're going to talk a bit more about braces related stuff.
Right, and now what can you tell me about this specific case?
So this is like a sample case from the literature. So it shows a case where there's a lot of misalignment in the teeth, which is very common. A lot of people have this. We see this all the time. And it shows how teeth can be lined up with braces to look straight.
And what causes misalignment? Is it just genetics, or is there anything else that...
It's probably to do with evolution and like people's jaws getting smaller over time. You know, like if you compare like monkeys or apes, they have quite wide jaws. It could be related to that, and the size of our teeth haven't really changed. So because of that, misalignment is very common. So yeah.
I see. And now with cases of misalignment, you spoke about braces being treatment for it. How does that work?
So yeah, like for instance, in this case, what we're looking for is, this case is a lot of crowding. What we're looking for is how to make the teeth fit the patient's face. So we can straighten teeth in different ways. We want it to sort of appear good at the end. So we also look at the facial profile. That's very important. In this case, you can see like the lips are quite backward. So what happens is when we line up teeth, when we need space, there's two ways to create space. Either we widen the jaws and make space and line them up, or sometimes we take teeth out. So it really depends on a few factors. One is the patient's profile. So in some cases, when we expand the jaws, the teeth come more forward. In this case, it was suitable. But in some people, if their teeth are already forward and crowded, sometimes we take teeth out and move them back.
And widening the jaw and taking out teeth, they sound a bit painful. Is one process more painful than the other, or are they both quite painless?
Yeah, it's the widening the jaw happens slowly over time. A lot of the time, it's not that uncomfortable. So like the braces sort of widen them. Sometimes we use expanders if needed. Taking the teeth out in kids where it's needed for braces is actually very pain-free. We just give a small injection. Usually they come out quite easily at that age. It's still very common to still need teeth taken out, and there's no disadvantage to having teeth taken, like one set of teeth taken out. So usually we'll take 4 out in a symmetrical case for premolar teeth, but it's not harmful in terms of function or anything. It's actually more harmful if you get a bad appearance, like the teeth are too forward when they're lined up. Sometimes that also affects the gums. It's not just the appearance. So it's I would say not very painful in most cases when managed well.
And Dr. Gamage, with the process of teeth being taken out and widening the jaw, do they both happen at the same time, or is it one or the other?
Yeah, so usually it's one or the other. So like in this case, this is like a borderline case because there's a lot of crowding. They could have had teeth taken out, so they actually treated it, in this case, without taking teeth out and widen the jaw. So it will be usually either one, so we'll choose whichever one. If we take teeth out, we're usually using the space where we've taken the teeth out to line up the rest of the teeth. Some expansion still happens even in those cases, but in cases where it's suitable to just widen the jaw and make the teeth fit, we'll use that method.
Thank you for clarifying that, Dr. Gamage. For this particular case that you're talking about, how long would treatment take?
So a case like this will probably take 1.5 to 2 years. So That's usually normal for most braces cases around that range. Some simpler cases can finish around like 12 months, but a year and a half to 2 years is quite common. And it is actually usually good to try and treat it around 12, 13, 14. So a lot of people wait too longer thinking it might get better. So that's another thing that we see often. Sometimes people think if you wait, the jaws will grow, it will get better. It doesn't happen, unfortunately. After the age of 12 or even earlier, the jaws don't really get any bigger from there. Like the kid might grow in terms of height, but in terms of jaw structure, it's not going to change much. It's a lot easier in most cases to treat it around 12, 13, 14. The teeth move nicer, it's quicker. And when we give the retainer, usually the teeth stay in that position.
So it's better to address this kind of thing earlier.
Yeah, at least to have a consultation and get a plan. In some cases, there are cases where we wait longer in particular cases for certain reasons. But generally speaking, it's good to address it around that age.
Now, Dr. Gamge, to maintain this treatment, so obviously the jaw expands and after teeth are taken out, you get like a nice aligned smile, is that correct?
Yeah.
And how would someone keep up with this treatment to ensure that the teeth don't move back to place or like change their alignment?
Yeah, so teeth moving back can happen afterwards. We usually put a fixed wire behind the teeth, so you can't really see it. It's a thin wire behind the teeth. And we give a retainer, either a clear retainer or there's different types of retainers. Usually to wear at night after the first 3 months, we like to wear it during the day as well. Then after that, just at night time. If you wear it well, it shouldn't move, but it's can move later. You know, sometimes someone has treatment in their teenage years. In their late 20s also, they might stop wearing the retainer, the wire might come off. Sometimes you can get movement down the track. So it is a long-term thing to sort of try and keep the teeth in place. But the good thing is, like, even if the teeth move at that age, if you've had braces once before, you get minor movement which can be fixed relatively easily. You won't have to have, most of the time you won't have to have braces all over again. So.
And doctor, how about when wisdom teeth grow? Would that actually impact the movement of teeth and the impact of braces?
Yeah, so we get asked that all the time. It's a lot of people think the wisdom teeth coming out causes a problem, but the research shows it doesn't. It's all the way at the back of the jaw, so that pressure doesn't really affect the teeth misaligning. So it's not because of that teeth misalign. Actually, it's more to do with the changing lip pressure. So you get this remodeling of the jaw, so the actual jaw structure doesn't change significantly as you get older, but there's a the jaw remodels in a very interesting way, and also the lip pressure changes over time. That puts pressure on the teeth, and they sort of start to get crowded again, especially the lower incised teeth start to move as people get older. But it's not because of the wisdom teeth, it's more to do with sort of lip pressure and the way the jaw remodels over time.
That makes sense. Thank you so much for clarifying that, Dr. Gamge. Yeah. With that, it does bring us to the end of our segment today. So thank you so much for joining, and we hope to see you again next week.
Yeah. Thank you for having me here.
See you again next week as we discuss all things to do with your pearly whites.
Good morning to all of you. Thank you very much for your supportive emails and messages. I'm your Brain Health for All host, Professor Tissa Vijayaratna, neurologist from Melbourne, Australia, on behalf of Sri Lanka Morning Show team. Today I thought I would share you a fascinating story about a 75-year-old retired chef who came to see me with suddenly developed burning pain and numbness over both thighs that stopped her from walking. Family thought that she had a stroke. She didn't have a stroke. What she had was a condition called bilateral meralgia paresthetica. In a previous week, we talked about meralgia paresthetica affecting one side of the thigh. In this lady, unfortunately, she had meralgia paresthetica impacting both sides of the thigh, as the pain was so severe she couldn't walk. She couldn't walk not because of weakness of the legs, she couldn't walk because of the severe pain. It is caused by irritation or compression of a small nerve called the lateral femoral cutaneous nerve of the thigh. In her case, unfortunately, both sides. This nerve supplies sensation to the skin over the outer part of the thigh. it doesn't control the muscles of the leg, so it cannot cause weakness. As I said, this lady couldn't walk because of the severe pain. We know that when we suffer from pain, we don't like to move. Most people develop symptoms on one side, like we discussed in a previous week. But very rarely, as in this lady, both nerves can be affected at the same time. The symptoms can be surprisingly severe. People describe burning pain, tingling, numbness, or extreme sensitivity over the thighs. Sometimes even the touch of clothing is painful. Because walking becomes so uncomfortable and painful, very rarely people may stop walking altogether. Like in our case or our story, they are not unable to walk because their legs are weak. They stop walking because every step hurts. So what causes this? The nerve passes under a tight ligament near the front of the hip, as you can see from the image on the screen. Anything that increases pressure on this nerve can irritate it. Remember, this is an electrical wire, biological electrical wire. We know that when wires get compressed and damaged even temporarily, that can cause short circuit or lack of function. Common causes of myalgia paresthetica include diabetes, weight gain, tight clothing, heavy belts, prolonged standing, previous surgery around the pelvis, and sometimes no obvious cause at all. The good news is that this condition is not life-threatening, it is not a stroke, it is not a paralysis, and it is not a disease of the brain itself. Although brain is affected, as brain is the organ which is telling you that this nerve is under pressure and causing problems. The diagnosis is usually made from the history and examination, sometimes additional tests such as ultrasound scans, sometimes MRI scans, and nerve conduction studies, meaning electrical tests that are conducted by neurologists themselves, can be helpful. Treatment focuses on relieving pressure on the nerve, treating any underlying cause, and controlling the nerve pain. The vast majority of people improve with appropriate treatment, and only a small number requires injections or surgery on the nerve itself. The important message today is this: not every person who is suddenly struggling to walk has had a stroke. But please don't self-diagnose these conditions. You need experts to help. So if you suspect a stroke, call ambulance and go to the nearest hospital where stroke services are available. Pain coming from a small sensory nerve in the thigh can also cause similar problems. As I said, because stroke is a medical emergency, don't self-diagnose. Our patient was relieved to learn that she had a treatable nerve condition rather than a stroke, and with right treatment, she is now back enjoying her daily activities and continue to work as a popular chef. Thank you very much for joining us with this segment again. As you know, I am your Brain Health for All segment host on behalf of Sri Lanka Morning Show team, Professor Vijayaratna, neurologist from Melbourne, Australia. We very much value your feedback and comments. Until next week, remember, early diagnosis of any neurological disorder is the first step towards better brain health, but you must love your brain and protect your brain, and there's no health or wealth without good brain health. Take care.
Sanji Caldera Associates. With our headquarters based in Melbourne, Australia, you can locate our branch offices in Sri Lanka, Dubai, Canada and London, UK. Some of our services include skilled migration visa, family migration visa, employer sponsorship visa, temporary resident visa, business visa, tourist visa, student visa, administrative appeals tribunal review. Pursuit of excellence through tailored solutions.
The Science of Life, traditionally known as the Ayurveda. Consultations, diagnosis, and treatments are done by fully qualified Ayurvedic practitioner Dr. Sam Dasanai. Sahandro Ayurvedic Center, best wellness experience.
Looking to buy a new hose reel but confused over quality? And you want to buy a locally made hose reel? Look for the genuine Australian-made AK Reels hose reels. Heavy-duty Australian design and patent. Using Australian-made hoses that last. By AK Reels, the Australian-made hose reels.
Invite the beauty of the endless ocean into your life. Situated fronting the beach of Wadua, Oceana Integrated Beachfront Resort Apartments bring you 50+ resort activities, a star-class hotel, and luxury apartments with world-class amenities. Oceana Beach Resort Apartments, Wadua.
Music Matters again. Welcome to the show. I'm Noreen Hunter, glad to be with you today. It gives me great pleasure to introduce an absolute legend in Sri Lankan music. She's a lady whose immense musical achievements have carved her a name in Sri Lankan's music history. A singer, songwriter, composer, a pianist and keyboardist, and of course, a diva. She's none other than Sri Lanka's Miss Music herself, Mignon Fernando. Mignon, it's wonderful to have you here on Music Matters. It's a privilege for me to speak with you on Music Matters.
I am so happy to be here.
Thank you. Now, you are someone who has virtually shaped the Sri Lankan Western music industry. What is your earliest memory of music that has shaped you into what you are today?
I probably think that when my mother was a music teacher, I probably got influenced by that. And I believe my mom told me that around 4 years old, I used to try to climb up onto the piano stool and play something. And I used to take, as I developed, my first composition was Desert Drums on A minor at the age of 8. And then I was, pottering around with tunes, and then I used to take poems, like the poems of Charles Lamb, and then I used to sing it, make a tune to it. Then again I thought, why should I use Charles Lamb? I should write my own lyrics, and so that's how it developed.
So at what age
we are talking about 10, 8 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah. And 4 years I've shown the interest in the piano and everything.
Mignon, I know that females were not looked upon very favorably to be part of the music industry at that early stage. So what were the most challenging aspects of being a woman in music at that time?
I really didn't find it a challenge being a female because I also had the instrumental thing going, I had the keyboards and things like that. And when I joined the Jetliners, I was needed because I was part of it. And there were songs for the women, isn't it, in that pop industry. Cilla Black and all those years, and Dusty Springfield and all that. So there was a need for, what was the name, I think? Luella. Also there was So there were songs for female singers. So it wasn't a problem because I sang the songs mainly that I was asked to sing at that time, and we also did a lot of keyboard work. No? There was a Coconut Grove, they had that organ, CG's boogie, in fact, the Coconut Grove boogie, and I played that. So the instrumental thing was already there. So that was a bonus actually for me as a female. I think that would probably be your answer.
So you weren't really challenged as a female being in the music industry. That's great.
Yeah.
So there are some who think, well, they were looked down upon because they're singing. Yeah.
So actually, I would think that I had people to influence me when I joined the Jetliners. Because I remember liking Motown and Diana Ross and that type of music. And
Diana Ross and the Supremes.
Yeah, Supremes, wonderful. And then I liked Motown music, and I remember being influenced by that. And then, of course, I also, the boys were very influenced by the Shadows, the Jetliners. So also then the Cliff Richard music and that type of thing. And
but then you used to rearrange the songs.
Yes, but that was a little later. When I first went into the group, I actually taught them little theory and chords, and things like that, which is what they needed because they had the talent. But then Tony, I think, was looking for, that little extra finesse.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you just mentioned Tony. Would you give him credit for setting you up as a
Oh,
star?
definitely, very definitely, because he not only set the Jetliners, because he had this Pincer record which he used to use for patching, and that's how actually the Jetliners saw him and said, oh my gosh, that's the sound that the Shadows use, and then they asked him to manage, and then after I came in later, introduced by Cyril Gardiner, because Tony was looking for a person to teach them theory and all that sort of thing. So I came in there, and then of course the music of that era, we used to, especially then we started off the Coconut Grove shows and everything like
That was at the
Golf Fest.
Yes.
So it was actually, Tony was instrumental in giving us the studios to practice and the sound he had, and he had the expertise.
So he's the one who really started you off into the role that you played
with the Jetliners, yes. Definitely, I think he's the one, yes.
So you actually began your professional career with the Jetliners.
Oh yeah. With the Jetliners. When I was 12, I played a little piano with Adrian Ferdinand's combo at the Coconut Grove, and there was Joy Ferdinando and all that. But I was still very young and, just playing piano, Latin American sounds and all that.
Okay. Anyway, moving on to your songwriting talents, Minon. You're a prolific composer, I know, and several of your songs have been selected for international song competitions. However, undoubtedly, Mangala Mohota is your most popular hit song. I believe it was released in the late 60s or the early 70s. What can you share with me about that song? And did I get the dates right?
1972.
1972.
Yes. So,
Mangala Mohota. What can you tell me about Mangala?
Well, actually, Mangala Mohota came in a trilogy which I wrote. And it was all about the life of a girl. So it started with Danny Vadukale, and that that was also a very popular song sung by my son and my little stepdaughter. So anyway, we did Danny Vadukale. Yes, yes. And then after that, we did Jivite Vasantya, which is a teenager, and then the marriage songs. Mangala Mohota. So it was a trilogy that I wrote for a girl.
Yeah.
So
now, were you the one who wrote the lyrics of the song, the Sinhala lyrics?
In the Sinhala one, I didn't write the lyrics, but I gave the idea to Karuna Ratna Besekar, who was a wonderful lyricist. Excellent.
He's done an excellent job with Mangala Mohota.
Yes, I know. And I also told him, like, I would like to end that with an ah or a oo or, so that it was also good when you sing it.
Yeah.
And then after that I use the like a paragraph to keep it. So like when I went later, when I went in 1972, I went to London, and then my husband told Sir Joseph Lockwood of EMI that I also compose songs, and they said, oh, go to the 4th floor, there's Jimmy Phillips waiting there. And when I went there, I sang some Diana Ross thing, and then he said, we don't want to be Diana Ross. We have Diana Ross. You sing your own. So I said, I'll have to sing it in my own language. So I sang Kanalaki for him. And he was so enamored of the melody that he told me, you have 9 days in London, I believe. Go write an English lyric for them. And that's how I wrote Little Bird, Now You Must Fly, still keeping that Asian thing.
Yeah.
And then they called it the Ceylonese wedding song, because we were still Ceylon. And
but we haven't actually heard the English version of it. Would you like to sing a few lines of the English version?
Pretty little bird, now you must fly away, spreading your wings to the sun. That is what my mama keeps on saying. Your wedding's arranged, little one.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Fluttering my eyes, I turn and walk away, wondering who will be mine. Will he be the one whom I could really love, as in my zodiac sign? So I maintained that little Asian thing, and so they called it the Ceylonese wedding song, and gave me a 7-year song contract with EMI for that. So that song was very fortunate for me.
It really was a very big hit. And it's something that's lasted to generations.
I know.
I mean, even now, people have it at their weddings when they're cutting the cake or something like that.
Or when they're leaving, when they're leaving them. So it's an amazing, and it also did well for soul sounds, because I gave it for soul sounds to sing. Yes, Soundari, who's my niece actually, and her soul sounds group did a beautiful version for the Wales choir song contest, and they came second in the world, and they got a gold medal.
They have won quite a few awards.
Yes, they are superb as well.
Right, now you were talking about Mangalam, that we were both talking about it, and you actually gave us more details, details that I was not aware of about the English version of it. But let's watch your original video of that now.
Okay.
So let's watch Mangalam Mahota now.